So how about that? After the Bulls got blown out by the Wizards in DC, arguably one of their worst losses of the season against the worst team in the league, after losing by as many as 30 points also against the Pacers the other night, the Bulls followed that up with a beatdown of the Wizards at home in their largest margin of victory this season, winning by 33 points. I'll be real though, the way this game was starting off, I wasn't sure if the Bulls were going to take these guys seriously yet again and wind up losing to them for the second time, because that first half, while the Bulls picked it up in the second quarter a bit, the defense was looking just lackadaisical as it did the other night against the Indiana Pacers. And I don't care if this is the worst team in the NBA, it's still a professional basketball team that you have to come ready to play or you're going to get punched in the face and taken out. But no, luckily for the Bulls, they shaped up a bit, got a little more focus on the defensive end, and also were moving the ball well on offense that is shown to be successful for them this season. So they put this team away early to give the starters some rest before their matinee game on Sunday against the Sacramento Kings. Before I continue on with the video though, a big shout out to our sponsors at Factor. I just got my Factor box in the other day and have been loving these meals. Factor makes meeting your nutrition goals easier than ever before by delivering fresh, never frozen, dietitian approved meals right to your doorstep. This has been key for me, as one of the biggest stressors in my life right now is finding the time to prepare healthy meals for myself and my family. Well, Factor takes the stress out of meal planning and sets you up for success. Skip the grocery stores, the prep work, and cooking fatigue, and get those meals delivered right to your door. With over 35 meals to choose from per week, including options like keto, calorie smart, vegan, veggie, and more ingredients with integrity to help you feel your best all day long. Skip the overpriced takeout trap. Factor is cheaper and way more delicious. Get chef-crafted, restaurant-quality meals delivered right to your door. They're ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes, which means more time for you. And right now, they're offering viewers of this channel a killer deal. Head to factor75.com or click the link below and use the code 50BullsCentral to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first Factor box. That's code 50BullsCentral at factor75.com to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. Super tasty meals. Let me know what you guys think. And thanks again to Factor for sponsoring this video. Now, I feel like even for the tanking crowd, those of you who want to see the Bulls lose, even for you guys, you don't want to see the Bulls lose like they did the other night against the Wizards, because a loss like that, where the team looked completely disengaged, unprepared, and lost on both ends of the floor, doesn't exactly bode well for the development and what to be excited about for the future of this team, even if you are solely focused on keeping that pick. So hopefully we can all agree as a collective unit of Bulls fans that the team should have won this game, and there were a lot of positives to take away from it. I mean, we'll start with Zach LaVine, who is just on an absolute tear right now. Yet again, another 30-plus point game. He now sits among a select few with most 30-point games so far this season. Of course, scoring at all levels, which we know he's capable of. Elite level finishing at the rim, which we've talked about before, is something that was so concerning last season because he was very subpar in his finishing at the basket. When he was healthy anyway, which was just so bizarre to see that kind of drop off from him. To have him come back as the old Zach, as one of the best finishers in the game, has been a very welcoming sight, not only for the team, but also for any potential trade value for which the Bulls may be able to take advantage of at the trade deadline. Although, and not to get too sidetracked, and maybe it's a topic for a different day, but part of me wonders whether the Bulls are just going to end up hanging on to LaVine and try and build a young roster around him. I think it would be a mistake, because at his age, you have to be able to identify a proper timeline, and it's going to get wonky where you're trying to build a bunch of young guys, develop a bunch of young guys, and then you have 30-year-old Zach LaVine who's still going to make you good enough where you just keep hanging around the middle, and then you don't take full advantage of landing a top prospect. But anyway, that's a bit of a tangent, but Zach LaVine, great game for him tonight. 33 points, 14 for 21 shooting, 3 for 7 from 3, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and a team high plus 34, although everyone had an insane box plus minus tonight when you beat a team by 33 points. Nikola Vucevic, he seemed to have cooled off a bit from his hot shooting this season, and you thought, okay, this is where he's going to start regressing back to the mean, which is going to hurt his overall trade value. But no, 4 threes tonight for Vooch, 4 for 6 from deep, 9 for 12 overall. Very efficient night for him on offense, especially with 6 assists, 13 boards to go along with 23 points. There have been some rumblings from various league insiders on the Warriors being interested in making inquiries on Vucevic, as well as Jonas Valanciunas, who also played tonight. We'll see if anything comes of that. I've said before, Vucevic on the Warriors makes a ton of sense for a stretch 5 with high IQ as an underrated passer for that team, but again, another great game for Vucevic. Also, 0 turnovers for him. How about Josh Giddey? flirted with a triple-double after a few bad games. Tonight he goes for 12 points, hit a couple threes, 13 rebounds, and 7 assists to go along with 3 steals and also only 1 turnover, which was great to see after he turned the ball over like crazy the other night. Kobe, a little quieter night for him compared to some of these other guys, but still 15 points, 3 for 9 from 3, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, which by the way, the Bulls had a season-high 39 assists in this game. Again, the ball movement, player movement with guys cutting, moving off the ball was back, fast break plays, turning defense into offense. Good things happen when the Bulls are moving the ball well and pushing the pace. And then great contributions off the bench. Jalen Smith had 12 points in like 4 minutes at one point. He ultimately finished the game with 15 points, shooting 5 for 6 from 5 for 6 overall, 3 threes as well, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. Great all-around game from Jalen Smith. Lonzo yet again, another great game off the bench. This was probably one of his best offensive games of the season where he hit 4 threes but also 6 assists and 3 steals. Man still leads the Bulls in steals per game despite the limited minutes he's gotten this season. Again, I know I've said this before, but it is quite insane just how well Lonzo has been playing after coming back from such a major injury and missing as much time as he has. And I still go back to what could have been had he never gotten injured. I also do wonder how differently the Bulls would have potentially approached this offseason if they knew Lonzo was going to look as good as he has been this year. But anyway, great game from Zoe. THT getting in on the action. Feel like it's been a while since we've seen a big scoring night from him. 12 points for THT, and then Modest Buzelis. Again, would have liked to see him get more minutes, especially when this game was starting to get out of reach by the third quarter, but a nice throwdown slam off a steal, hit some threes, had a nice pump fake sidestep 3. Haven't seen him do that one, didn't know that was in his bag. 8 points, 3 rebounds, and 16 minutes of play. Oh, and 2 blocks. He remains the Bulls' best shot blocker, despite only averaging around 12 minutes per game. The only negative, really, I will say from this game, and I hate to do it to him because his confidence is just absolutely shot right now, and that's Patrick Williams. I mean, this was sort of a dream game for Pat when you're playing against a bad team. You're going up against a guy who is not a good defender in Kyle Kuzma. This is one of those games to get you back on track and build you up a bit. But instead, another game in which Patrick Williams finishes with just 2 points. Shoots 1 for 8 overall, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals. Okay, 3 steals, that's nice. And look, Pat was at least trying to be aggressive. He was trying to create his own shot. He was trying to drive the ball inside, but he would either lose the ball with his butterfingers or miss a close range shot. And look, I'll likely need to do a separate video on this, but as I was watching some of Pat's old rookie highlights, and I hadn't done that in a while, but in watching some of those highlights, hell, even some of his college highlights I looked at as well, and you compare it to what you see of Patrick Williams today, and it's actually astonishing to me how he has seemingly lost his ball handling ability, his footwork and overall coordination in general, and also his athleticism. Like, I see Pat now, and there will be so many times where he's driving the ball up the court and either loses his dribble, gets to the elbow, and then realizes he can't finish and will just kick it back out. Like before, this kid had the handles to take it inside. He had the footwork to beat his man off the dribble, and just generally speaking, had a better touch in the paint. Now, this could be for a lot of reasons, which again is why I probably need to talk about it in a different video. Could be the injuries, could also be the fact that his build has changed quite a bit since being a teenager entering the league. He's obviously much more bulky now, and also his role. Came into the NBA as a 3. Ever since his sophomore year, he's been a 4. And also, ever since his sophomore year, the Bulls have been in sort of win now mode after they added DeMar DeRozan, which again is going to impact his overall role. Anyway, I'll save that topic for another time, but if you go back and watch some of his old highlights, it's honestly quite depressing because you almost forgot just how good he looked and the potential that he had for a 19-year-old kid. And I just don't know that we're ever going to get back to that point. I feel like he's lost all confidence and he's just clunky and clumsy out there when he's on the court. Anyway, though, Bulls win. Next game, we'll see DeMar back at the United Center for the first time. I'm sure the Bulls will have some sort of tribute video for him in his return to Chicago. Until then, guys, as always, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.